Video games based on movies don't exactly have the best reputation, but that doesn't mean things can't change. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora comes so close to providing a complete package that it really is the new standard for movie adaptations. While critics have been giving this game average reviews, I believe that the main problem is the source itself. Let's find out more in this review. If you think about it, we have had two Avatar movies so far, with three more on the way, and not a lot of people really think that the story is what makes these movies memorable. No, it is the visuals, the 3D effects, and the action set pieces performed by digital creatures that appear to be so lifelike. Yes, the stories are decent, but they are not exactly great. So it's a bit unfair to expect the video game version to have a better story than the movies, especially when the game does well in other departments. This is all a long way of saying that I wasn't too impressed with the story of this game. You play as a character who has been imprisoned by the humans invading the western frontier of Pandora, a continent far away from the one shown in the movies. So you have all the knowledge of using human weapons and technology, but almost no knowledge of being a native Navi. So when you break out of your prison, you need to learn everything from the beginning, which works out well for the gameplay. But beyond that, there is almost nothing that the story offers. You are given the task of uniting three clans in the region to fight against the humans who are polluting the planet non-stop. So you go to each clan and help them with a few tasks until they agree to provide you support for your mission. In the end, there is a predictable but engaging fight to defeat the leader of the human settlement. There's no strong villain like there is in the movies, and most of the time you are just fighting wave after wave of generic human soldiers in AMP suits. There are two villains who have a small presence, but their impact is rarely felt on the story. But again, if you watch the Avatar movies or play this game only for the story, you will end up being disappointed. Okay, so if the story isn't that great, at least the gameplay might be fun, right? Well, not quite. There was clearly a lot of hard work put into the development of this game, and the team at Ubisoft Massive worked together with the team that actually worked on the movies, so they get a lot of things right. But sadly, being a Ubisoft game, there are a few bad habits the gameplay loop gets into, which makes the game a bit dull. Let's begin with what the game gets right. You do get the sense of being a Navi, as you're 10 feet tall and tower over regular humans. You're also quite nimble and can run at high speeds, which is always fun. Fast travel is available from the start of the game to certain points, which is nice. The world reacts almost exactly the same way you remember it from the movies. There are flowers that shrink into the ground when you approach them, flying lizards, and a whole variety of plants and animals that you might recognize from the movies. Gathering resources also has an interesting mini-game where you need to rotate the item in a certain direction and pull it carefully. You can skip this if you want, but then you won't get the best quality of that item. Remember the scene from the first movie where the hero jumps down from a great height and tries to use huge leaves to break his fall? That is possible in this game as well, although just like in the movie, you don't need to use it a lot because you have your own flying mount that you can use to go anywhere. Speaking of flying, the part where you bond with your mount, called the Ikran, is easily the best mission of all, as it showcases the game at its best. Jumping among the floating mountains as you approach the Ikran and then take your first flight is truly the most memorable moment of the game.
You must secure the bond with a final act of trust.
How do I...
Call for her! Call for your Ikra!
let's talk about what doesn't really work. First, the combat can be quite annoying at times because although you are fast, you are also a native of the forest and so you don't exactly wear a suit of armor. You can easily be shot down in a matter of seconds if you are not careful. And the humans, called the Sky People, are smart enough not to attack you directly. Instead, they use mechanical suits called AMP or AMP suits that are highly irritating to fight. These suits appear in almost every single combat mission, and in some cases they are the only enemy type you encounter, which is what makes them irritating. Since the source material doesn't contain any other enemy type, the game also relies only on basic soldiers and the AMP suits, which can quickly get boring. Combat is also uninteresting because a large part of the game revolves around the same kind of mission: breaking into a human-occupied base, clearing out the soldiers, and extracting some kind of data or resource. Freeing bases is a staple gameplay type of other Ubisoft games like Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, so it's not exactly a surprise to see it here. But to see it be used as the only type of combat mission offered for the majority of the game is a bit disappointing. The game also features 2-player co-op, where you can complete most of the story along with a friend. But you do have to bring a friend, there is no public matchmaking available. I saved the biggest negative for last, and that is of course the continued presence of microtransactions in Ubisoft's story-based games. They might make a little more sense here since the game also features co-op and you have the option to show off your purchases to your friend, but the continued presence of these cash shops in full-priced story-focused games is deeply concerning. This is where the game convinced me that it is worth a recommendation. Similar to the movies, it is the visuals, the sound, and the music that sell you on the Avatar brand. You simply have to play it to believe the immersion. The world of Pandora is beautifully illustrated and is a delight to run, ride, or fly through. The floating mountains, the thick jungles with overflowing wildlife, they are all here and yours to explore. Adding to the immersion, of course, is the sound and music of the game. As you're traveling through Pandora, there is so much input from all the wildlife around you that in the beginning you'll definitely feel like stopping and just looking around to see who's making all those noises. It's moments like these that are sprinkled across the story that made me want to keep playing till the end. Not the combat, not the story, but just being present in this world. And that is why I bunched together these 3 elements in the review. The visuals, sound, and music collectively sell you on the experience, and the end result is truly remarkable. It's a simple decision really. If you want to experience a game set in the world of Pandora that was created with inputs from the team that actually made the movies, then this is pretty much your only choice right now. It is clear that a lot of people made this game with care and passion. It does have its flaws, but if you're a fan of the movies, it's definitely worth a try. However, if you look at it purely as a video game, then yes, there are far better options in Ubisoft's own catalog itself that offer a satisfying open world experience. For me, this was an excellent way to end a year full of interesting games and has made me look forward to the next adventure on Pandora.